Hey guys, it's Austin-Sensei, and welcome back to another review of The Rising the Shield Hero, and boy, Nafumi's rising, to say the least. But before the video begins, I would like to say do consider subscribing because, I'm going to make more Shield Hero content. But nonetheless, to the review. So, we see that Nafumi and Raphtalia are kind of just standing the ground, and we get a little, background of what they're doing. They kind of Nafumi took a mission, and, well, a job, and he's kind of telling Raphtalia not to force herself, because we could see a change from the last episode fully in. It's quite amusing to see that it's not like, the anime just rushes to a change in the next episode. It actually goes at a pace that's realistic. This is kind of why I always like Shield Hero, because it's realistic with its stuff, and I know some people may get irritated, oh, he's still a jerk. Not as bad as he was, a couple episodes ago, and it's just, I like that. I like the realistic point of that when I know I'm watching anime while you caring for realistic stuff. But nonetheless, we see basically they finish the job, and Nafumi is kind of having flashbacks of the Shield of Rage when Raphtalia got hurt, and he keeps blaming himself for it, and this kind of feeds into his emotions. He doesn't realize that he actually, I know people get very upset when I say this, you're going to start to see it slowly come out. As I said, it's not, this series isn't, like any other series, it's right there. No, it takes time for Nafumi to realize his feelings for Raphtalia, but nonetheless, it's really amusing to see how far he's progressed, though, since the first episode and the second episode and the third, compare that all to this 9th episode. It's just amusing, and I like it. Nonetheless, so we see Nafumi's actually going to the capital because he is putting Raphtalia's treatment as a priority. He wants to get it done because he doesn't want to lose her. As I said, it's just like, hey Nafumi, you're dense, buddy. Realize what you like. But we see that Raphtalia and Philo are better friends now, and it's good to see this friendship and how everyone's relationship has kind of progressed so far, as I keep saying. And we see that Philo spots a girl playing with the other, Florias, and of course Nafumi goes to check it out, and the birds are running off because they're scared of Nafumi, and I'm like, oh, you're not popular with everyone now, Nafumi, like you usually are. Besides that joke, we see that Philo said the birds look yummy, and Nafumi right away goes, that's not right, boy. This ain't it, chief. This ain't it. There we go. It ain't it. And he kind of explained why it's not right, because it's her own kind. That's not good to be hungry and wanting to eat your own kind. And it's kind of funny because this kind of stuff is, going back to when we were barbarians, basically. We would do stuff like that. It shows that Philo is kind of a bird brain, without the pun. Yeah, the pun's there. We're just going to move on. So we see basically Melty is really impressed by Philo, how big she is and everything, and Melty starts to offer Philo food, and I'm like, oh, she's got her at her weakness, and Melty starts to pet Philo, and Nafumi thinks Melty is actually a nobleman's daughter, and little does he know, to say the least, till the end of the episode. I'm quite happy they didn't go to the next episode of you finding that out. Melty keeps feeding Philo, and it's, they're friends. They're just friends. If you feed Philo, you're good. You're golden kind of thing. It's kind of like a pet, more or less than Raphtalia. But Philo gets the go-ahead to play with Melty. Not Malty. She'll do something else with Malty. But nonetheless, she transforms into her human form, and, everyone was probably gonna think that Melty was like, oh my god, what the heck is this? Kind of thing. But no, she actually was a little bit surprised but happy at the same time. And we see that Nafumi is kind of like Papa Shield Hero again, and says to Raphtalia that it's good that Philo gets to play with kids her age, and it's kind of like Raphtalia is kind of like the mother. It's quite amusing nonetheless. But of course Philo and Melty go off to play, and Nafumi, while they go play, is doing his job of healing people, of course without pay. He needs his payment. I mean, any person that plays an MMORPG has missions. They don't do missions for free. You wouldn't want to, but nonetheless, he kind of starts to, we get to see the kind of who's taking care of Raphtalia, not a specialized doctor, it's actually him, and he keeps blaming himself for her wounds, and she keeps telling him it's not his fault, and she's trying to be nice to him, and we see that Philo returns, and she starts to talk about Melty, how she's a traveler, and she got separated from her people, or her guards, while she was playing with the Florias. And it kind of starts to make sense why she is where she was in the beginning. And of course, Melty shows up and outright asked Nafumi, "Hey, can I travel with you?" Because they're going to the same place, and it raises the question of who Melty is. And as a manga reader and the web novel and light novel reader, you're just sitting there like, yeah, I know who she is, but I'm not going to spoil it, kind of thing. But yeah, we hear the same story from Melty about what happened, and Nafumi kind of starts to balance out the issues. He's like, we could get a good reward, and I quite find it hilarious because he's now thinking more like the, casual person that, I'm being honest, you wouldn't go escort someone without that far of a distance without expecting money. I'm going to be honest. If you are, you're a good person, but it's just not realistic, to say the least. But, yeah, Philo and Raphtilia convinced Nafumi to take Melty, and this time it wasn't the jerk kind of side of it, and I like that. He's actually starting to progress as a person, and of course they head off, and we see that Raphtilia, of course, is not doing so well with traveling because she is cursed or sick, however you want to put it. And we see that Melty, Philo, and Raphtilia, though, are getting along so well, and it's just like they're really great friends. I love seeing that. But it's funny to see that Nafumi and Raphtilia were preparing food while Philo and Melty were running around. It kind of looks like, they're a family. And as I said before, it's amusing to see that Nafumi is so dense. He really is. But Melty tried to give food to Philo leftover that she didn't want to eat, and Nafumi's like, no, and the reason behind that is if you do feed Philo a lot more, she's going to eat anything she wants, as we learned. Yeah. So everyone goes to sleep besides Nafumi, and Raphtilia wakes up, and Raphtilia starts to notice that Melty's missing. And we are in this atmosphere of, oh no, what happened? kind of thing. Did she run off? And we see Mel's clothing on the floor, or Melty's clothing, and Raphtilia and Nafumi think Philo ate Melty, and it was just that moment of, oh, crud. And we hear Nafumi go, "We saw nothing, Raphtilia. We'll just get rid of the evidence, and nothing happened." He's like, yeah, that's something I'd do. Like, I didn't see anything. I don't know what you're talking about. This is all just a dream. Yeah. Because that's a big sentence against him, to say the least. But we see that Raphtilia goes to Philo and, hey, what did you do to Melty? Oh, she's inside me. She's sleeping in my feathers. And Raphtilia sees that Melty's in there, and of course she pops out, and Raphtilia ends up falling asleep because of the feathers, along with Melty. And it was quite an adorable moment. And of course, we arrive at the capital. We see that Philo's taking Melty home. Nafumi is making sure, he's quite sure he's going to see Melty again, and he's not wrong. She's going to be another really important character in this series. Nafumi goes to the church with Raphtilia to get the holy water, and he notices the church is missing the shield, and it's the three-hero church. And pay attention to that, people. I really highly suggest you pay attention to that because it's going to play a bigger part. And of course, we see the priest of the church, and the priest was trying to be nice to Nafumi, even though he does not like Nafumi. I'm going to tell you that right from the bat. The priest is okay with giving that holy water that he needs for 1 gold coin, and Nafumi has no problem because he outright said to Raphtilia, 1 gold coin is nothing compared to losing you. And I thought that was a sweet thing he said, and it was good to see that. And of course he gets the holy water, and after they get out, we see a guard running towards Nafumi, and Nafumi thinks he's being chased down because he's done something, or he's, from the last time, and he runs with Raphtilia, and he tells Raphtilia to gather Philo because they're going to get out of there. And while Nafumi goes the other way, being the bait, we see a Spear Hero come out of nowhere and charging at him and attacking him. And Spear Hero wants Philo to be free because, she's a slave. He doesn't realize that Philo's that bird that kicked him in the jewels, to say the least. And Spear Hero now has extra protection for his jewels, and he's mad at the fat bird. Yeah, so it was quite hilarious. And of course, with this whole fight going on, the people in the background are fighting too, and the guard shows up that was chasing Nafumi and says, "You cannot do this duel here, take it somewhere else." Then Melty shows up as the devil and approves of the duel. And then we see Melty like, no, not today, because the guards need down to her. And she cancels the duel. And of course, Melty is Malty's sister. And Melty is the more sensible person versus her sister, as we can see the contrast, and Raphtalia and Philo show up, and Spear Hero goes to Philo, and he's completely confused, and he calls Philo fat right in front of her, and I'm like, oh, this poor man, he ain't gonna have kids. And Philo gives that poor man, I'm gonna call him her at this point, because that amount of time he's been kicked there, a good kick, and he goes flying, and the score right now is Philo 2, Spear Hero 0, and Melty wants to speak with Nafumi, and of course, the group heads to the blacksmith place, and of course, the blacksmith wants to know what's going on, but Nafumi's like, no, we got nowhere else to go. It's just, he's an old man. I like it. But we see that Melty is the second princess of the kingdom, and she actually is going to be the heir to the throne, which is her mom. She's going to be the queen, and Melty actually gained it by Melty being a very problematic child, as you know we see, and it's quite interesting to see this. And Melty didn't know that Nafumi was the shield hero, and we see Nafumi get all like closed up and all of a sudden not want to talk to Melty after realizing this, because you know he heard that she was from the royal family, and I think it's justified with that. And I know a lot of people are going to get really pissed off at Nafumi, but no, he's been through a lot of stuff. Of course I wouldn't even trust there's any royalty in that kingdom. They're all after me. That was the most realistic thing. I'm like, yeah, I would do the same thing. And it's just, this episode was really well done, and it had a good comedic like portion. And Raphtalia, of course, is going to be fine. Don't worry, guys. But overall, I wish they would stop using some CGI. That's my only complaint so far with the series, is they loosely kind of use the whole CGI, but it's not too bad like, you know, Overlord Season 3. Overall, though, amazing episode. I love Melty. I always did. But, yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see that Nafumi's going to start to realize not all the people of the kingdom are bad. It's actually, as people forget, it's not a patriarch, it's a matriarch kingdom. The queen runs it. So, wait until we meet the queen, and I can't wait. And, of course, that priest, I don't trust him. I know for a certain reason why I don't trust him. And everything that I told you to pay attention to is really going to start to make more sense as the episodes go through. I hope you do, as I said, pay attention to why there's only the bow, spear, and sword in the church, not the shield hero. And it's just, we'll start to realize more. But nonetheless, I can't wait to see you guys on the preview video that I'm going to be releasing. Of course, I am going to be announcing, I think, tomorrow what I'm going to be covering in spring, so pay attention for that video. But anyways, guys, as I said in the beginning, if you enjoyed this video, do consider subscribing and share this video, and I will catch you guys later. This is Austin-Sensei signing out. Peace.